What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and if you're enjoying the content that I'm uploading onto my channel, then feel free to subscribe, and you can also offer suggestions on topics and characters and storylines and whatnot that we can have discussions on later on in this channel.
Okay, so, you guys are a tough crowd. I did a Twitter poll, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, follow me on Twitter, Comics Explain. I did a Twitter poll and I asked you guys who our next video should be on how to kill superheroes. What superhero or supervillain, whatever, should we kill in the next video? And you guys said Lobo, which is DC's Wolverine, basically. DC's Wolverine and Punisher. And this is a difficult one because he's effectively immortal, and we'll find out why. So, as we always do with these videos on how to kill superheroes, we're going to start out with who he is, and then we're going to go into his powers, and then we're going to see if we can't figure out a way to kill him. So, Lobo first appeared in Omega Men #3 in 1983, but didn't really catch on with readers at the time, and so while he made a few appearances in various titles throughout the next few years, DC attempted to revamp his character by giving him his own miniseries in 1990, where his origin story was changed. Now, in this miniseries, it was revealed that Lobo was the last surviving member of the Zarnian race, I think it is, and the reason why he was the last surviving member is because he killed everybody else on his planet. And so we would actually find out in a 2006 Newsarama interview with co-creator Keith Giffen that Lobo was reimagined as a leather-clad ultra-violent biker in order to be a parody of sorts for some of the ultra-violent anti-heroes that were becoming extremely popular in Marvel Comics at the time, most notably Wolverine and the Punisher. Now, Giffen, who was noted for a more lighthearted style of storytelling in his superhero stories, was not a fan of the gritty trend that was becoming the new norm in many of the comics that he was going through. And so where he attempted to poke fun at it, readers embraced the newer, edgier version of Lobo with open arms. Then he actually became one of DC's most popular characters in the 1990s, even going up until now. And so with that out of the way, let's move on to the discussion of Lobos Powers, which I think is what most of you guys care about. So, one thing we have to keep in mind with Lobo is that, again, he was written by several different writers throughout his time in comics, so the extent of his powers has varied widely depending on who was writing him. For the purposes of this video, we're going to focus on the character of Lobo as he was most frequently written and as he was most frequently perceived. So this means that we're going to be talking about the pre-New 52 version of Lobo, which is the version that most people think of in the DC Comics universe, and the one that we're actually going to be seeing in the DC Rebirth Justice League of America series. And we're going to completely ignore the New 52 version because that version sucks. So, Lobo has super strength and superhuman durability, and it's with regards to these two powers that our previous statement about different writers writing Lobo differently comes into play. There have been times, for instance, when Lobo's strength is really nothing to write home about. He's had a little bit more strength than a normal human, but that's about it. But at other times, Lobo's been strong enough to trade punches with Superman. And in fact, Superman's even said that Lobo's strength combined with his quickness make it impossible even for someone as fast as Superman to react to Lobo's punches. Lobo has broken constructs created by Hal Jordan with the greatest of ease, and Hal Jordan stated that containing Lobo with one of his constructs would take his complete and total concentration and willpower with no distractions in any form or fashion. And in fact, just to get an idea of how ridiculously overpowered Lobo has been, there was an instance where he literally spit in a dude's face and it killed him. The spit goes through the guy's skull like a bullet and the dude dies. Now, to complement his insane strength, Lobo has a ridiculous level of durability. He's been punched into outer space and through a spaceship by Superman without sustaining any damage whatsoever. He shrugged off Superman's heat vision and he survived an explosion that reduced an entire planet to rubble. But what makes Lobo simply ridiculous and absolutely elevates him to a comical level is his regenerative healing factor and his theme music from Superman the Animated Series. Now, remember that when we started this conversation, we said that Lobo started out basically as a parody of several characters, including Wolverine. And so because of that, Wolverine's healing factor is basically amped up to 11 with Lobo. There was one occasion where Lobo regenerated himself from a pile of charred bones, and it's been confirmed that Lobo can grow an entire body from a single drop of blood. His head has been disintegrated, and Lobo kept fighting while a new one grew back. And Lobo was once reduced to merely his soul, and then proceeded to possess a snail and use the tissue of that snail to recreate his own body. So yeah, I guess as long as there's a drop of blood, or maybe like a soul, Lobo just cannot die. Like, he just cannot be killed. Not only that, and this is where it gets really crazy, not only that, Lobo can generate new Lobos from a single drop of blood, meaning that he could basically cut himself and create an army of Lobos. It's ridiculous. But not only does he have a regenerative healing factor, in Marvel Comics, Wolverine's immortal, or at least believed to be immortal because of his healing factor. Lobo is genuinely immortal because he's been banished from both heaven and hell. He can't go to either place just because of all the things that he's done. So this is the question. How do we kill someone who's legitimately immortal? Well, the first thing we have to do is try to use magic. It always comes down to magic. The first thing we have to do is try to use magic. Since Lobo's been granted immortality, which literally means that he can't be killed, the only way around this is to rid him of his immortality. Now, since we said that Lobo got his immortality from the fact that neither heaven nor hell could handle him, in order to make him mortal once again, it's likely going to take an act of either divine or demonic nature. And so that gives us a few options. There are a few characters in DC Comics that are tied into divine power, like the Spectre, the Presence, and Michael the Archangel. Furthermore, there are several other entities that are tied into demonic forces, like Trigon, Etrigan, and Lucifer Morningstar. Now, it seems that any of these powerful entities would be able to remove Lobo from his immortality, and that ability can even extend to any of the magical characters in DC Comics, like Dr. Fate, Zatanna, or John Constantine. But that's just the first step. Even if Lobo is no longer technically immortal, he can still heal from pretty much any injury with a single drop of blood or organic matter that would allow him to reconstitute himself. And so what we would need is someone who can either transmute matter or destroy matter, like Firestorm or even Dr. Manhattan. So basically, the combination of literally destroying the molecules that make up Lobo or transforming them into a non-organic material, which could negate Lobo's ability to regenerate, and then turning around and using some kind of divine or mystic force to keep his soul from inhabiting another living being, might just be the trick for killing him. Failing that, it's likely going to take any one of the reality warpers in DC's universe, like Mr. Mxyzptlk, to simply remove Lobo from existence. I mean, technically, it's not the same as killing him, but since Lobo appears to be pretty much impossible to kill, I don't feel a little bit bad about cheating. But with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this video to an end. If you guys have an idea on how to kill someone like Lobo, feel free to leave a comment down below. If you guys have an idea on what character we should kill next, feel free to post that character down in the comment section, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.